1. Succeeded in learning how to drive although it was difficult. Well, I am going to describe a time when I prepared for my driving license a few years ago. It was in my freshman year back in college. My parents signed up for me at driving school because I had a 3-month summer holiday and they wanted to get that done as soon as possible. At first, I thought driving was a piece of cake for me, because I often drove karts with my friends. But when I went there and started the car, it was totally different from what I thought it would be. The steering wheel was hard to control, and I could not get the car to the required position when parking it. Besides, there was actually limited time for me to practice. You know, getting a driving license is a must before you work, or you won't have too much spare time to do it, so the driving learning school was always full of students every summer holiday. When I found out that I might not pass the test because of few practicing time, I asked my dad if he could teach me and gave me some guidance. Then we drove somewhere free of pedestrians and started to drive. For several days, I was over the moon as I could gradually know how to control the car and drive a little more smoothly without making the car go dead. That was a pretty good experience. Finally, I passed the test with flying colors and got the license in that summer.
2. Describe a time when you taught a friend or relative something, what you taught them to do and whom you taught. Today, I'm going to talk about a time when I taught a useful skill to a relative or friend. It happened last semester when I taught my classmate and bosom friends, Lon, how to use a laptop to design slides for our English group presentation. How you taught them? Lan's family was living on a tight budget and didn't have a computer, so she was completely awkward with technology. To begin with, I invited her to my house on the weekend to hit the books together. First, I showed her how to search for information on educational forums. Then, I guided her step by step to use a design tool to arrange images and create beautiful visual effects. Because Lon was quite shy at first, I tried to open up and encourage her, making her feel more confident. And how you felt about it? Initially, I had butterflies in my stomach because I didn't know if I could be a good teacher. However, Lon was extremely dedicated and focused. Thanks to our good teamwork, we finished the project with flying colors and got the highest score. I felt over the moon and on cloud 9 when our teacher praised the slides. Overall, it was a truly rewarding and bonding experience that I will always cherish.
3. Describe a time when you forgot/missed an appointment/topic. Remember things. What the appointment was for and who you made it with. Today, I'm going to talk about a time when I missed an important appointment. It happened last semester when I made an appointment with my classmate and study partner, to meet at the local library on a Saturday evening to hit the books and complete our English project. Since Mai is a stickler for punctuality, I made arriving on time my priority. Why you forgot/missed it? Unfortunately, I ended up missing the meeting due to a regrettable incident on the road. Before leaving home, I completely forgot to check the real-time traffic reports. As my dad was driving me through the city center, we were suddenly stuck in a massive rush-hour traffic jam. The vehicles were packed so tightly that my dad even had to dismount his motorbike just to see what was happening ahead. Because of this severe delay, I realized I could not make it to the library on time. How you handled it and how you felt about it. Although some people around us started riding on the sidewalk to escape, my dad and I decided to follow the rules and wait patiently for the local police to come and disperse the crowd. I immediately called Mai to explain the situation and apologize. Initially, I had butterflies in my stomach because I felt so frustrated about my carelessness. However, Mai was very sympathetic and agreed to reschedule our study session. Overall, that was a stressful experience, but it taught me a valuable lesson about checking traffic updates before leaving.
4. Describe a time when you made a decision to wait for something/topic. Patience. When it happened and who you were with. Today, I'm going to talk about a time when I made a difficult decision to wait for something. It happened last semester on a Saturday evening when my father was driving me to the local library for a study session with my classmate, Mai. What you were waiting for. We were caught in a massive rush-hour traffic jam in the city center due to heavy rain, which caused a severe delay. The street was completely packed with vehicles, and my dad even had to dismount his motorbike to check the road conditions ahead. At that moment, many people around us grew impatient and started riding on the sidewalk or breaking traffic laws to escape the gridlock. However, My father and I made a firm decision to stay in our lane and wait patiently for the local police to arrive and disperse the crowd. And explain how you felt about the decision. Initially, I had butterflies in my stomach and felt highly frustrated because Mai is a stickler for punctuality, and I was afraid of missing our meeting. However, my dad calmed me down and reminded me that obeying traffic regulations must always be our priority. We ended up waiting for nearly 45 minutes before the officers cleared the path. Although I arrived late and it was a regrettable incident, I felt very proud of our decision. It taught me that staying patient and doing the right thing is far more important than rushing through life.
5. Describe a time when you missed or were late for a meeting/topic. Late. When it happened and what happened. Today, I would like to talk about a time when I was late for an important meeting with my classmate Mai. It happened last semester on a rainy Saturday evening. We had planned to meet at the local library to hit the books and collaborate on an English presentation project. Since Mai is a stickler for punctuality, I made arriving on time my priority and left home very early with my father. Why you missed/were late for it? However, we encountered a regrettable incident on our way to the library. As my dad was driving through the city center, we were completely caught in a massive rush hour traffic jam. The street was heavily congested, and the movement of vehicles came to a complete standstill. The situation was so severe that my father even had to dismount his motorbike just to assess the road conditions ahead. This unexpected gridlock caused a serious delay, and I instantly realized that arriving on time was mathematically impossible. And explain how you felt about this experience. During the gridlock, I had butterflies in my stomach and felt incredibly frustrated because I hate keeping people waiting. My dad suggested we remain patient and wait for the local police to disperse the crowd rather than breaking traffic rules. I immediately called Mai to explain the severe traffic delay and apologize. Luckily, she was very sympathetic and agreed to wait for me. Overall, when I arrived nearly 45 minutes late, I felt deeply embarrassed, but this experience taught me the importance of checking real-time traffic reports before leaving home.
6. Describe a time when you didn't have enough time. Introduction and when/where. Today, I'm going to talk about a time when I completely, ran out of time. It happened last year during my final exam week. I was studying in my room, trying to handle a mountain of tasks all at once. What you tried to do. Specifically, I had to prepare a presentation for my English class and study for a difficult math exam the next morning. Because both subjects were crucial, I had to stay up very late. I wanted to finish my slides and review all the math formulas, before midnight. Why you didn't have enough time? The main reason for this shortage of time was my habit of procrastination. Although I knew about the deadlines, I kept putting them off until the last minute. Furthermore, the presentation required more research than I expected, so the clock was ticking incredibly, fast while I was still struggling, with the slides. I felt so panicked because I hadn't even opened my math notes. Conclusion. Luckily, by cutting down on my sleep, I managed to finish everything just in time. This situation, was a huge wake-up call for me, and it taught me a valuable lesson about time management.
7. Describe a time when you were busy. With the incredibly fast-paced living, it is usual to see how employees and students feel burnt out because of many projects, and so do I. Today, I would like to talk about a time when I was swamped with deadlines at university. I remember it happened when I was a freshman. The allowed time for the whole team and me to prepare was 2 weeks. Because that was our first and crucial project, I was up to my ears in work during that time. I was chosen to be the leader, so there were tons of tasks waiting for me to be executed, such as searching topics, making a detailed outline, or doing group discussions to brainstorm ideas. I can say that I am a procrastinator, therefore I had my hands full with the deadlines. More specifically, I was unable to update my blog, keep up with my social media platforms, and visit a few close friends. Because I didn't feel good about the project, I found it to be exceptionally stressful. Luckily, I had such a wonderful team who always supported and motivated me. Thanks to our good teamwork, we finished the project with flying colors. Although it was quite tough for me at that time, it was such a rewarding experience since I gained valuable lessons in time management and coping with stress.